This is Voxile, an upcoming game where you get to explore beautifully crafted and rendered worlds made by the indie studio VoxRay Games. And since this game has a demo going on and a design competition, why not just snatch the head developer Walter from his coding desk and put him into the interview couch?
Alright, so I am Wouter van Noordmersen. I am the person leading our small company VoxRay Games into making the game Voxile.
Hi there, I'm Lunar, and today let us explore and review this fully ray-traced game to find out if it's worth your time. And be sure to give me a little sub if you like these kind of deep dives and interviews. But without further delay, let's get going. Voxile is described as a level-based first-person shooter RPG, with a focus on fully destructible worlds and terrain, with enemies having actual layers and internals that will show when doing combat damage. But one of the more immediate factors that you will notice is its ray tracing, capable of making the game look incredible and help with its eerie or rather beautiful atmosphere. Now usually I'd follow this sentence up with something like, but it tanks the game harder than a Sherman circa 1945, but no, it actually runs silky smooth on my 3080 Windows VM. The game itself is heavily combat focused, with the developer wanting to strike a Minecraft but with better combat and quest feel, and in that it does succeed in some aspects. The melee combat feels stompy, especially with the tutorial maze. You can feel there's some actual weight and rage behind it. The guns also feel very impactful and satisfying to use, with again the damage you do being reflected on the enemy, giving that little extra bonus point. However, there is a little bit of a disconnect between the levels being sometimes very medieval fantasy based and the mods reflecting this as well, but then having like an AR-15 to spray them 6 feet under the magical ground you're walking on. But that's also kind of the beauty of the game, as you can just make your own level in the custom made level editor, which looks amazing, if not a little bit complex. But maybe a good question to ask is, what's the inspiration behind this pretty unique game?
Some goals that I had in mind is like the kind of games I want to make need to be games that are very kind of player creativity driven. So lots of, destruction, building, that kind of fun stuff. You will not be surprised that's also driven by the kind of games I would want to see. I am actually a big fan of games like Minecraft, but mostly on the side of like the kind of worlds that you have, the creativity, building, destroying, those kind of things. I actually find combat in Minecraft to be severely lacking. And so my feel is like, I want a creative game that's kind of like Minecraft, but I want better combat. I want guns. I also want some more goals. I want quests, those kind of things. So if you kind of combine those things, then you're looking in the direction where I'm going. Certainly what we're making right now is not like, is not yet Minecraft meets Fallout or something like that, but it's kind of like the direction where we're slowly going.
Having worked in the AAA industry for a long while, Wouter just wanted something else. So after working on a ray tracing engine for 2 years, he just said screw it and started his own company, VoxRay Games, which has now 12 people either working full-time or part-time for it. If creating your custom engine for a custom game already sounds impressive, this madman then doubles it up by creating his own coding language as well.
Yeah, it's as custom as it gets. So not only is the rendering entirely different from any other engines, it's fully ray traced, but it's built on top of a custom programming language, another one that I made. So yeah, it doesn't get more custom than this. I made the programming language and I used the programming language to make the engine and the game.
Man just casually rolled up his sleeves one day and just went to work. That's what he did for the past 3 years as well. Him and his team have been really hard at work getting this beautiful game closer and closer to release. Having now not only released a demo, but also a competition and a Kickstarter, it seems that Gay is getting closer and closer. But okay, Lunar, how does this game actually play, I hear you ask? Well, let's get on to that. I mentioned earlier that the game is level-based, beginning with this tutorial level where you have this guy waving a gun around like it's nothing. Man's probably from Texas or something, but he explains the basics of the game very well. Just the basic jump here, get this item, hit the cute slimes until their faces melt, that kind of sort of thing. After that, you are teleported to an island which gives you a bunch of quests, starting with this lady calmly waving at you to come over and then start screaming in your ear about killing all the monsters in sight. So you get given a pistol and immediately start punching into people's houses like a menace. During this, you might come across a mysterious soup merchant, which I can only describe as a level A badass. Quote, "It's an ancient evil awakened across the universe. It promises to make an end to mankind." Anyways, soup? This is the definition of fuck it, we ballin'. After this transpired, you're given a numerous amount of quests you can do, one of which is this kind lady, which proceeds to just waste your time looking around for shells. Not the best quest to put up for an example, but hey, it's a quest. Now the second quest is a little bit better. It's a priest that wants us to break into the catacombs and clear it of monsters. But this other guy wants to actually break in to steal a golden mushrooms. Alright, I say, let's kill 2 birds with 1 gun. So anyway, I started blasting until there was 1 enemy left and I couldn't find it. After some searching, I could still hear it through this door, so I started opening it, but it required a key. I spent the next 5 to 10 minutes just blowing up stuff hoping I find the key, eventually blowing open a hole in a wall, and then I remembered, oh yeah, this is a voxel destroying based game, so I can just destroy the wall around it, right? And then just walk through it. And that's what I did. And wasted 10 minutes of my life just looking around for a key that wasn't there. Oh, and the monster was just behind the corner up some stairs. I just couldn't find it. That brings me to the second criticism me and the person editing this video had. Oftentimes you can just destroy an obstacle and it's just out of the way, and pass it like it's nothing. An obvious roadblock just becomes a little bit of a speed bump. And at times you do go exploring in areas that are walled off, it doesn't usually have loot in it or anything of value. On top of that, the level does seem to reset your perks you get as a reward for doing missions when going into another one. So if they intend on doing a big story in this game, I suggest keeping it all on one island or having the story mode be a linked affair. But so far, I did enjoy my time. But again, I can't get over the fact that this game is fully ray traced and just so stunning. And it runs so well as well. So they must spend a lot of time making it pretty, but also optimized, right?
You'd be surprised that it's actually very little, especially at this point. Like right now, we're just purely focused on gameplay features and building worlds. The underlying ray tracer, that is the first thing that I built to make this engine, that probably hasn't been touched much since like the last 3 years or something. Before I even started this company, I probably spent 2 years just working on that ray tracing engine. So that was certainly like a lot of work.
Let's for instance take a very unique issue they had with enemy pathfinding. In normal games, pathfinding is pretty straightforward, give or take. If it's set to approach a player and attack it, it just finds the fastest way to do that and goes for it. In Minecraft, for example, a zombie will just calculate the nearest path towards you and it just auto jumps over blocks if it's only 1 block high if needed. In Voxile, that's not really the case. When you blow up a wall, that now becomes part of the path. So the engine has to take into consideration if it's big enough for that mob to fit, and when it does think it's big enough, that mob needs to path its way towards you via that hole. It's a unique issue to be sure, but unique just means that you made a unique game, right? And that does feel this way. This game doesn't feel like just another Unity or Unreal asset swap or project. It handles and comes across entirely as something else. But the simplistic UI to me kind of flies into the face of that, with the health bar just being this red bar up top and the inventory being also very basic. But hey, it's a demo. I can't just complain about a demo that isn't finished, right? That would be pretty unethical. I will say though, if you're looking for a Minecraft-like experience, this game might not really be for you right now. There's no real building as it for one, and well, the developer himself says so too.
It's not really a sandbox in the sense that our current worlds, they're all kind of focused on being fairly heavily quest-based. And the worlds are pre-designed. So Minecraft generates a new procedural world every time you play it. Here, we have a procedural world generator, but it's used by the level designers to then build a world on top of, kind of thing. And then you play those resulting worlds with lots of like gameplay kind of pre-made. We do have plans for more sandboxy gameplay, but we've kind of turned it around. Like a lot of games, they will start with the sandbox and then maybe make some designed gameplay afterwards. We're doing the opposite way around, where we have designed gameplay, and then once we see like what works well and have a wide range of things that you can build and craft and whatnot, then we're going to make a more sandboxy experience.
But hey, in the meantime, you can experience a really cool game that already has Flans mod pre-installed. Cool, right? But let's continue. As of the time of writing, the demo for Voxile is set to go live within 2 days. At the time of uploading, it will be already live for 2 days. This also comes with a Kickstarter, and of course, that comes with the accompanying skepticism. Many a game on Kickstarter promised the world and never delivered whatsoever. So what's to stop Voxile from doing the same? Well, for starters, they don't promise you the world. They just promise you a fun shooty and stabby RPG with ray-traced voxels. It's made by a small team with a very, very senior game developer struck out doing what he wanted to do, being his own boss. But of course, that doesn't always go that smoothly.
So for me, as the person running the company, the biggest thing that I've had to learn more about, and it has been the biggest challenge, is stuff related to people. So, getting the right people in the team, the right skills, that kind of thing. Hiring can often take like a whole month for a person, kind of thing. And then once they're inside the company, getting everyone on the same page to have the same kind of vision for the game, and like, what are we building? These things are surprisingly difficult. You think like, it's not a big deal, hey guys, we're making this kind of game, go. And it turns out it doesn't work that way. And there's a lot of hands-on there.
Part of a creative process is also being open to making mistakes. For example, Wouter explained that they work very iteratively, meaning they don't really plan as much as traditional studios. For example, they don't plan out every minute detail of every interaction and every gameplay step to the minor detail. Instead, they just code, design, bug fix at the same time, which has the benefit of immediately getting feedback, but it also risks you putting down a development spiral that eventually will see all your work scrapped, as it turned out not to really work. But after 2 years, it seems Wouter and his team are more than excited to show off what they have in their hands.
We've been working on this game for like well over 2 years now. So getting it in the hands of players, and that is kind of the most exciting thing for me. Like, so far we've been working kind of in the dark, and we're making all these cool things and got a lot of good reactions, and testers think it's awesome, and some early players think it's amazing, but you don't really quite know where you're standing as a game. So I think once we're out and we can really start building the community with everyone, the game development is going to take like completely different form and shape from that moment on. That's the kind of moment I'm most excited about.
And with that, let us conclude. Voxile is one of the more unique games I've played so far, not because of its setting or its design, but the way it's made to be an entirely gameplay first game, look pretty second, and then be a creative wet dream with limited potential for community made levels that you can also access and play. And that editor is getting some love during the demo as well.
Yeah, so this is the first time that we're inviting external people to try out the editor. We're currently still scrambling to build some like educational videos and things like that to make sure people know how it works. The basics of the editor is pretty simple. You drop in the editor, you can move and place objects, not a big deal. But the details definitely require some explaining maybe. So we're still working on that. The cool thing is we do have some actual prize money. I believe it's some $6,000 worth of stuff in total. So there's prize money, and then on the lower price tier is a bunch of Steam Decks that we're handing out. So, for people that like building in other games, this is a good opportunity not only to try it out, but if you get somewhere with it, to score some cash or a Steam Deck. So.
And overall, I had a really good time playing this game before the demo, and likely will be streaming the demo as this video comes out. While it does falter somewhat in the quest design and UI department, I believe this game has a great potential to be one of those happy wheel games where you just play challenging maps others created and will likely dabble and enjoy creating those worlds yourself. So if you have the time, give that demo a try, check out their Kickstarter. But for now, I was Lunar, you are very awesome, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Alright. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all my patrons and Pebbles for supporting me. $1 a month will unlock the full interview I had with Wouter, as well as all the other interviews I've had with all the other game devs and mod developers, all on the Patreon. And a special thank you to Wouter for agreeing to this. They had a very intense debugging session before we had this interview, so the fact that he made time for a relatively small YouTuber like me, it means the world to me. Also, thank you to Drowned for editing this video together, and thank you for being here. Again, the channel is doing all new directions, and it's cool to see that I still have people who will still check out my work, even though it's not Minecraft related. So if you're here and you first signed up for Minecraft content and you still like this content, I see you commenting. You're awesome. And yeah, it's currently 1:30 a.m. and I'm going to bed. See you later. Bye-bye.